Hey there, Coach Devin here. A couple weeks ago, I did a video on how to get good glutes. A lot of the time, people want to work on their butt. You heard about it a lot, women, men, everybody wants to work glutes all the time, work your butt every day. Sometimes people do it way too much. In my personal professional opinion, I've been doing this for 26, almost 27 years. I feel sometimes like people are overdoing this rage about, your butt so you can post pictures on Instagram, etc. But you know what? It is what it is. Anyway, I did a video talking about the 3 things that I thought were really good in a way to build your butt. I'll put the video down in the description down below. You can click on it and take a look at it yourself, see what you think. All right, so I had a bunch of people message me and they said, Devin, listen, you're missing some stuff there. You're missing this exercise, that exercise. The major exercise that people thought I was missing was hip thrusts. Everybody loves hip thrusts. And if you're not, if you don't know what a hip thrust is, I'll throw up a picture here. That's what a hip thrust looks like. People were saying, Devin, this is the hip thrust is the greatest glute exercise, the greatest exercise ever. There was a lot of rants and a lot of stuff about how great hip thrusts are. Now, the reason I didn't include hip thrusts in there is because, quite frankly, I think hip thrusts, excellent exercise, does good stuff. But is it really a multi-joint type of thing? Does it really get you overall more fit? I'm a little bit up in the air on that one, to be honest. I have never done hip thrusts. I'm a guy, I got a big ass. I have a big butt. It is what it is. I've done a lot of squats, a lot of lunges, a lot of hill runs. And the one thing that I found has worked for me and for clients was to do some of those things rather than do hip thrusts all day. But people do love hip thrusts. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about hip thrusts in general and one other exercise that I would say for your butt is a really good one. So let's talk a little bit about the hip thrust. The hip thrust, obviously, you're lying down either on the floor or against a bench. You got a bar in your lap or dumbbells in your lap, and you hip thrust up into it. It is a excellent exercise if you want to target just your butt. It is a great exercise. There's no 2 ways around it. It will work. It will grow you a big butt. You want better glutes? There you go. You're going to get it. If you want it, you get it. And listen, we have seen 1 million. That might be an exaggeration. It may not even be an exaggeration. I don't know. It seems like every second Instagram model I see out there who is pretending to be a trainer, and there's a lot of them. They all want to pretend they're a trainer because they're, they have a good ass. So they're like, hey, I'm a trainer. Look at me. And I do hip thrusts all day. Okay, great. They all do them. Everybody rants and loves the hip thrust. I just think bang for your buck, I think there's better things out there. That's my personal feeling. I've done this a long time. I know people like it as an exercise. I think if you do a squat correctly, you can get positives, lunges, all kinds of different things. Hip thrusts are a piece of your, it's a bullet in your gun. That's the best way to do it. I always look at fitness as being something where, you can use all these things to get what you want. If you want a specific goal and you want to work on your butt, there's a number of different ways to do that. And you should incorporate all those things, not just one of those things in there. And a lot of people just get hyper-focused on the hip thrust. And they want to do the hip thrust again and again and again because and you know what? And fitness is a lot about that. You do have to do the same thing again and again and again so you can progress. I'm 100% on board with that. I just think that the hip thrust maybe isn't the greatest one out there. I think there's some better ones out there. And so let's talk about one that I think is a little better than a hip thrust, that I like personally a little bit better than a hip thrust, and I think will get you probably more of what you're looking for than a hip thrust. And what I'm talking about there is a split squat with one leg elevated. I'll throw a picture up. That's what it looks like. The reason I like this exercise is you can load it, but you don't load it as heavy, and you use more muscles. Yes, you're going to use your butt. Yes, you're going to use your hamstrings. There's a lot of balance involved. I think that's good. I think balance is important. When you come to fitness, people sometimes don't realize that balance is a big piece of fitness. Look, it's fine when you're 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever, to not think about balance as being part of what you do. That's okay because you're not tripping over things. If you do fall down, you're probably not going to get that hurt. As you get older, that's an important thing. So using balance, I think, is important in fitness in general. That's why I like that exercise, because I feel that, that exercise will give you a force balance. If you do a split squat with one leg elevated, you will get some balance pieces to it. Balance is important. We all need to have balance so we can walk around and do the things we want to do. So I think that's a big piece to it, number one. Number two, I feel it more. Every time I've done a hip thrust, yes, I can feel it the next day, but even when I load it up, and I mean, a fair amount of weight on there, I've done a hip thrust with 315. I understand there's lots of Instagram models out there that have probably girls that have done way more than that. To me, good for you. That's awesome. I don't think it's the be all and end all. I know that, building a big butt is great, but I think it's the quality of the reps sometimes over doing 2 or 3 reps. I would prefer more reps because, listen, to be honest, I'm 46 years old now. I'm not all about grinding on something and beating the hell out of a body part. I'm more about the overall thing with it. But what I have always found is between hip thrusts and one-legged squats, or lunges rather, with a split squat, I have gotten more out of that one-legged split squat, or split squat in general, sorry, I was going to say one-legged lunge there, but out of that split squat, I've always gotten more soreness, I've gotten more results from doing that than I have on doing a hip thrust. And with clients, I have found better results in that. I have found the clients like that better. They get more out of it. They get more fit. They get more balance out of it. So if I'm going to pick between the hip thrust and the split squat, I'm going to pick the split squat because I think that it just gets you better bang for your buck. Not saying in any way that hip thrusts don't work. They do work. They are a positive. They're something that can be used. Again, bullet in your gun, right? It's something you need, but it maybe isn't necessarily the be all and end all when it comes to butt, glute exercises out there. I would prefer other things. I think there's other things that are better. The comments, if you think that I'm wrong, type it up. Listen, I hear from people all the time to say, Devin, this video itself is people saying, Devin, you're wrong. Talk about hip thrusts. Okay, I'm talking about hip thrusts. These are my feelings with hip thrusts. I'm not negative about them necessarily, but I do think there's more bang for your buck out there, and you can use your time a little bit better. If you have comments, questions, things you want me to talk about, geez, I'm tripping over my own tongue today, message me, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. A lot of these videos come from the fact that people will write me and say, hey, Devin, talk about this. What do you think of that? I like stuff like that. The interaction here, what I'm trying to do is educate, help you with things, and hopefully help you to get more fit. And I can share my passion with you because this is what this is all about. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Don't fight the awesome.